Hi! Song of the Wind. This is after Lightly Row in the Suzuki book. Several different and new techniques we're going to be working on for Song of the Wind. Students are going to be working on staccato bow, which are those stop, short, sticky bows. And we're also going to be working on what I call bunny hops starting in the third measure. We're also working on retakes or circle bows as well. So when you work on the first section, before you actually begin, you are going to do the circle bows and you're going to learn the bunny hops first. So we have the second and third finger hopping from your E string to your A string. I just have them practice this motion while their first finger stays, you don't even need your bow, stays down on your E string. So first finger on your E string, which is the F sharp, and then you have your G sharp and your A down as well on the E string, and then you can hop them to the A string, or you can start A string, hop to E string. That's the way it is in the piece. So your F is going to stay down. So your first finger is down. The 2 and the 3 are going to move as one unit. Okay, so you're on your A string, which is the D, and then they're going to hop to the E string, which is the A. I have them practice this. We call them bunny hops. Now I have them practice it. I just wanted to show you with that angle, but I have them practice it, of course, in playing position with a nice tall violin. And practicing the bunny hops is difficult sometimes for a new student to keep the first finger down. Also with a nice straight wrist. We're still working on all of the things that make a nice playing position as well at this stage. So working on those bunny hops. When you pair up your students and you have them working together with their violin buddy usually I'll say, okay, person with the longest foot will get into playing position and their buddy will count their bunny hops for them. So say we do 100 bunny hops, and then they'll switch when they're done. So they'll each take turns and they'll be helping each other as well. The other thing is the retakes. We work on those before we begin the piece as well. So for the retakes, we talk about starting in the middle of our bow. I usually have them do it just on the E string. And the first thing I have them do is just this motion. Just lifting the bow actually and doing this. Just doing this. Now, the object of this is to do it without making either any sound or hardly any sound. And you don't want what we like to call crash landings, which are, okay, you don't want any crash landings. So, and just have them practice. Because this now has to do with their bow hold. So, at this stage, they're probably doing the outie thumb, pinky above the eye on the frog. So checking the bow hand, you have to have a proper bow hand to be able to do these correctly, all right? Once they've done several of those and they've worked with their buddy and done that exercise, then you can have them play from the middle to the tip. And remember, when I say tip, it doesn't mean that they are actually going all the way to the tip, because everyone's bow arm is different and you don't want someone to swing their bow just to get to the tip, okay? So you want them to be able to open their door hinge, and like right here is my tip. So I'm going to, at this point, lift. I call it, it's really a half circle is what I tell them, because if you tell them it's a circle bow, they're going to reach way out here. Okay, so we do our half circles and we lift, and then without a crash landing, All right, and I also practice with them to be able to, when they circle bow, because sometimes it's very difficult for them not to crash land when they lift, to press and release a little, press and release. Okay, now you have to teach that and model it for them, because sometimes then they'll go and press really hard. So, and we just do it nice and slow and monitor, walk through. Of course, you do it if you're doing violin buddies, if you have a large group. They're also helping their friends because you have told those, what I call the violin detectives, those violin buddies, what to look for in their partner that they're working with, okay? All right, so you've worked on your bunny hops, you've worked on your circle bows, and then next you have your staccato bows. Now for the staccato bows, I usually just do the walking up the stairs on the A on this one, and we work on those quick, and telling them there's a little bit of silence in between each of those notes. So you have then the E, and you can work on those separately as well. Then your bunny hops start here. This is where you put the one down. Now, here's the tricky part. Not only did, remember, we work on these, but I also take this section again once we've worked on those bunny hops and just work on this part, the third and fourth measure, where you have, and I have them freeze, put it down, rock their square, then they have to hop and rock, and then lift up that F. They kept it down the whole time, the F sharp, and then open E and circle bow. So they are in that, you can just take that chunk out, bum, 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 and just work on that section first. I always have them do the hard stuff first, and then the rest of it is easy, okay? And they're like, oh, wow, that wasn't so bad. So take it, section it out. The way the Suzuki book works, what you've done so far with them is you've done those twinkles, you've mastered them, you've done your twinkle marathon. They're very proud of themselves. Then you have lightly row, which pretty simple. It'll be pretty simple for them, majority of the kids. Then you get to Song of the Wind, and now you have new challenges. What's going to happen after they master Song of the Wind, because this is a more difficult one with different techniques, then you're going to end up going to Go Tell Aunt Rhody, and that one's pretty simple. That's the kind of the way the Suzuki book works. And then when you get to Oh Come Little Children, then you're going to be working on new techniques again, all right, with those double up bows and starting up bow. So, all right. So working on all of those things separately in Song of the Wind with your students, and then working on sections. So you have climbing up 4 E's. Now your bunny hops, rock, and circle. Rock, rock, and circle. So master that much first. Just work on that first half once you've mastered your bunny hops and your circle bows. And then go on to the next section, which is this. They have a hard time, by the way, playing the correct amount of D's, the correct amount of C sharps, and the correct amount of B's in this section. So what I do is have them count them. So we look at the music and we say, okay, well, how many D's do we have? And they'll count 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, great. How many C sharps do you have? And they'll count 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so we have 4 D's, we have 4 C's, but how many B's do we have? And they'll say, oh, we only have 3. All right, so we'll count them. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now 3. Now here we go. Here's a tunnel. Tunnel 2. Quick circle. 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. Circle bow. Repeat. Okay. So in that section, count out the D's, the C sharps, the B's, and then in measure number 10, you have I call it the ACE section, okay? Because it's A, C, E, quick circle. That's the quickest circle ball in the whole piece. So you have to be ready without your crash landing. And then guess what? That next part, it's almost the same. You still have the same amount of D's, the same amount of C sharps, the same amount of B's, but you have a long A there instead of ACE. And then working on those two sections separately. So your first section goes up through measure number 6. That's the first half. And then the second half of the piece goes from measure 7 to the end. Just working on that with the proper amount of C's or D's, C's and B's. And then putting the two sections together. Once you can do that well, then you can take the repeat and go from the beginning. Okay, whole thing. I'm going to do it without the repeat for right now. I always give them an introduction. So usually the introduction's like the last 4 measures of a piece, so they know the tempo, and they can prepare before you play. And here we go. And circle. And circle. 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ace. A, add C and E, quick circle. And circle, and then you go back to the beginning. Okay, great. Have fun. This one's a lot of fun. So, and then when we're really good at it, they like to kind of play it a little bit faster and have fun with those circle bows. All right. Thanks.